that 3-day war. It was fought on July the 1st, 1903. The burial started on October 17th, but the dedication to the cemetery was set for Thursday, November the 19th, 1863. Well, on the morning of the 18th, President Lincoln and part of his cabinet, John Hay was one of the members, and some other dignitaries and well-known long-winded speakers boarded the train for Gettysburg. So Mr. Lincoln confided to John Hay that he did not feel well that day. And then on the morning of the 19th, he confided to his secretary, John Nicolai, that he was dizzy and didn't feel good. And on the train going back to Washington that night, he was really in bad shape. And he was finally diagnosed with a smallpox. Wow. But anyway, the dedication started, and Mr. Lincoln was not one of the first speakers. And he had to sit on that podium, on that platform for a couple of hours and listen to these long-winded speeches. And he got up and he said his speech in just a little over 2 minutes. And he was highly criticized by the people and by the newspapers because of having such a short speech. But Mr. Lincoln had chosen his words well, and Lincoln's Gettysburg address has become one of the best known, the most read, the most memorized, and one of the greatest government speeches in the United States history. And this is what Mr. Lincoln said. 87 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated will long endure. We are gathered on the battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives so that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this, but in a higher sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow these grounds, for the brave men, living and dead, who struggle here, have consecrated high above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little know nor long remember what we say here, but they must never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which those who fought here have thus far so gallantly advanced. It is rather for us here to be dedicated to the great task that remains before us. And from these honored men, we take increased devotion in the cause for which they gave the full measure of devotion that we do hereby highly swear that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this country, under God, will have a universal freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, and for the people will not perish from this earth. And that is what Mr. Lincoln said.
Good. Irwin, my friend. Irwin, my friend, my brother.
This next poem is one that I thought of myself. It has a lot of meaning for me. A short time after Brother Mel came to pastor this church, a kind, gentle, well-mannered, friendly man started coming to our church. His name was Irvin Harding. And yes, he was Brother Mel and Dale's father. Well, I was just drawn to that little fellow. And every time he was in that church, I'd find some way to leave my post on the door and go have a short visit with him.
Yeah.
Well, Urban got sick one day, and he was in and out of hospitals. He was in and out of nursing homes. And every day that he was in the hospital and nursing home, I went to see him. And we became very close, and we had a lot of fun together. I tried to keep him laughing as much as I could. We just had a great time visiting each other. And he would tell me about his experiences in the dairy business and selling groceries in his grocery store. And I'd tell him about my experiences selling drugs. Well, maybe I better clear that up a little. I operated drugstores. Well, anyway, every time when I would get ready to leave, or when I visited him, he'd always say, "I want my prayer."
Amen.
So I would do a prayer for him. And then one day, he was I think about 2.5 years older than me. One day he said, "I want my prayer." I said, "Hey, old man, you're not much older than me. You better pray for me." And he told me to pray for me. But anyway, one day I went to see him, and he was up at the nursing home at Hilltop. And after our visit, I started to leave. He said, "I want my prayer." And I said, "Well, I brought you a poem today. And the title is, Urban, My Brother." To know Urban Hardin is a privilege of our time. Since I've known him, he has become a brother of mine. Now, this kindred feeling is something others may not see, for it's the love and the respect that I have for him that is deep within me. I see him often, and to me, that is a time of great delight. I can feel him there day and night. He's been a wonderful husband, father, grandfather, Christian, and friend. And when he faces adversity, you just know he will win. Yes, he has faced adversity, sickness, and strife, but God keeps this to a man on earth to enrich our life. Yes, Urban Hardin is small in stature, but he stands out among men. I'm thankful to God for my brother and for my friend. Amen. A short time after that, Urban went home to be with the Lord. And I was privileged to do the eulogy as shared on it. After a few remarks, I quoted this poem. And then about a week after the poem, I took it and at the bottom I said, "P.S. He is gone now. God came by one day. He said, 'Come, Urban, it's time for you to be with me.' And he stretched out his strong, gentle hand and took it away." I think of Urban often, and I miss my gentle friend. But I'm thankful in my heart, for I know he is walking with God, and God holds his hand.
Amen, my brother. Vietnam.
This sure is loud, isn't it? This next poem is kind of out of place for tonight. But the last time I was up here, I was trying to say this poem, and my mind went just as blank as that wall right there.
I like mine.
And I said to myself, I'm going back one of these days and see if I can do that again. Well, this poem is a poem that came out of Iraq. It was sent to the United States by Navy Commander Jeff Giles. It is not known whether he was the author of this or if he just passed it along. The title of this poem is, this is not the time of year or the season for this, because the title of it is